Hello and welcome to this module on parenting styles. So I love this topic and I just find it so fascinating how parents parent their children. And I've lived and worked in so many families, so I've seen lots of different scenarios and how parents kind of think and what they do. And I just find it really fascinating. But what I have also seen a lot of is how parents can misinterpret their child and be doing the opposite to their partner. And when this is happening, it's just a very draining experience. And, um, you've got to really be together. You've got to be on the same page for your child. If you want your child to grow up to be a well balanced, grounded, resilient individual, they need to get clear instructions and information from their parents. They need to know that they're loved, they need to feel secure, and that all comes from consistency and communication. So, your parenting style really does have a huge influence on your child and their personality and how they turn out. And this is what we want to do, is have children that are, grounded and have good role models in those first few years, because again, you're setting them up for life. You're ensuring they're not going to have mental health problems as they get older, because you've taught them all the good stuff in the early years. So the four parenting styles that I talk about are the cat, the tiger, the dolphin, and the kangaroo. So you might be getting some ideas about which of those you may be. But for anybody who hasn't done my quiz, there is a quiz on my website, sanitynanny.com, and just go through that quiz. It's very short, but it'll give you an idea of where you're at, and also get your partner to do it and see whether you match up or where you've got differences. Because once you get that awareness, that's when you can start making those changes and you can start realizing why you need to do it. Very often I find that one parent is like the cat parent, and the other is the dolphin, or maybe even the tiger. And when you've got these differences, it's really confusing for your child, because what mummy lets them do, daddy maybe doesn't. And so they start learning to go to one parent over another. They know who's going to give in to them. They will plead more. But if you're giving in because you feel like you just want to make your child happy and you find you can't say no, you need to be really looking at the reasons behind that and the longer term implications. Because the more you know yourself, the more you know why you're saying no or where you're saying yes, is going to be the biggest clue to how you have been shaped, how your views have been shaped in your childhood or through what happened when you were young, or maybe if your parents got divorced and you were living in two different households, or you had step siblings and maybe they were treated differently and you might be choosing to do things differently. But in doing so, you might be undoing some of the good. So it's really, really important to understand why you parent the way you do and what is going to be right for your child. And you also might need to adjust things for different children and families. So a great example of this is when parents have twins or triplets, and you feel like you're doing the same thing to each child, but you're getting a different result. And it's not because you're doing something wrong, it's just that a different child needs a different approach. And particularly, if you've got children with special needs, or they're slow learners, or they've got dyslexia, or ADHD. I mean, some of these things might not even be on the radar, and I don't want to worry about it, but just look at your child as an individual and you can't go far wrong. So if you are struggling or you're not feeling like you're making progress, it might be a question of changing your language or changing your tone of voice, and really looking at your child from their perspective through their pair of eyes and not yours, because we've got years and years of living in this world and knowing, you know, what goes on in the environment. But for a child, they're learning this is a whole new world. They're going to go through new phases, they're going to go through new phases of growth and development, and the more we can teach them and be the best role models ourselves, the happier and more secure they'll be. And it's not about giving in to your child because they've seen something on TV or their friends got it. But one of the biggest things you can do as a parent is to limit or keep technology off limits before your child ideally is, you know, 5, ideally 7, is what is recommended by psychologists. So if you really want your child to grow up healthy and mature in a really healthy way, keep technology to a minimum and don't use it before bedtime. I know it's easy if you're tired and they're tired to think, oh well, I'll just put the TV on for them, but this can sort of affect how well they settle. And also children that are using technology tend to have more tantrums, so it does make it more difficult for you. But if you take your child on holiday and there's no Wi-Fi and you go out to, I don't know, the Outer Hebrides or somewhere where there is no Wi-Fi, you will notice a difference in your child. Their behaviour will be so much better. They'll be calmer, they'll play together better, or they'll ask you questions, and you can really build that relationship and really get to know what they're all about. But knowing who you are as parents is the number one priority, and this sets the foundation for everything. But it's all down to your beliefs and values, and again there's supplementary information about this, but we will be talking about this because there's lots of friction that goes on, I know, between mums and dads. But please try not to be a people pleaser. Don't be afraid of saying no to your child. When your child lives in this world of yeses, and has everything that they ask for, you might not even be aware that you're doing it. In some cases, they become quite challenging as they get older. They are less popular with their friends because they've been spoilt, they've got their own way. But children need to learn that they can't have everything, that life isn't all about them, and it's about getting that balance right. It's about some things and being okay with saying no to them, but you always must give a reason. If you give a reason, and it has to be relevant to a child's age and stage, and then just let them deal with you know, the emotions that come up, but you know, be there to support them when they're ready to explore them with you. But that is one of the things that you mustn't be afraid of. So always, you know, trying to be the best person yourself, being polite, asking them nicely, but try not to bribe, try not to coax them into doing things. You want to motivate them by giving them something positive to look forward, or a treat or an outing. You know, reward them for good behaviour. Give them praise, but try not to do this kind of playing mum off against dad. You know, as I say, you might not even be conscious that you're doing it, but the more you're aware of your own actions, the words that you're using, the better your child's going to respond, the better parent you're going to be, and you're not going to grow up with this guilt. You know, you're just going to be okay with who you are and how you're parenting, really being proud of being that dolphin parent. That's the ideal to work towards. You might start off as a kangaroo, but then as your baby gets older, think, hang on a minute, you know, this isn't working anymore. Let's switch things up and work towards being the dolphin parent. But if you're the tiger parent, don't worry. Sometimes it's just, you know, it's just within you, and we just need to do some work on ourselves and our beliefs and our unconscious habits. But you can change, you can find that patience, you can learn to, you know, look at your child in a different way. And if you're a cat parent, you need to kind of wake up a bit and stop, you know, ignoring things that are going on around you, and be more present to your child, what they're doing, their behavior, how that's influencing other people. And you know, this is a learning process. This is something that we all go through, and you know, you can get to be that perfect parent, perfect in your eyes. You know, there is no such thing as a perfect parent, but we're all imperfectly creating our ideal idea of perfection within our family and our lives. So don't be too hard on yourselves, but learn to recognize what you're doing, what you're saying, how you're behaving around your child, and start looking at other parents, but through a new pair of eyes, not through that criticism, not through that perfectionism, but you know, you could be a role model for other parents to come to you and go, and when they're asking how did you get your child to do that, why do they, you know, they do that, my child won't do that, they'll be coming to you and saying, tell me, you know, what you do. And then that's going to be one of your proud moments, and you can start sharing this work, and because you've done it yourself. So be proud of your parenting and work on your parenting style, and make sure you're aligned with your partner. If you're not, let's have a conversation and get you on the same page. I look forward to seeing you soon.